Is he listening? Who knows?
He's ever elusive.
He's ever elusive.
And you misspelled it again.
I don't care anymore.
Apparently the spelling is also eluding you.
Yeah, especially since elusive doesn't start with two L's.
It really doesn't.
Anyway. Are you going to keep talking, or...
Oh, I thought you were taking over.
It sounded like you were going to talk.
No, I'm going to fix the title, apparently. So, please continue.
It starts with an E.
Elusive. Elusive.
That's how I spelled the first time.
I know.
Did you tell him he spelled it wrong when he didn't?
Alright, you gotta take over. Right.
Jeez, that's just mean.
But
Right?
everything was lowercase. That's what my issue was.
Anyway, we are here with the Elusive Gentleman's brother. Before I lose my goddamn mind. Because we're gonna try and figure out the Elusive Gentleman's mind through osmosis, I guess.
Or through someone who's known him for a very long time.
No, it's cellular mitosis that we're learning through.
Exactly. It is cellular mitosis.
Photosynthesis?
I like photosynthesis. We'll do it by photosynthesis.
We need sun for that.
We well, since Greasy Boy's full of such bright ideas, why doesn't he lead the way?
It's actually in my contract stating right here that I'm not supposed to lead the way. I'm supposed to just be a yes man.
Fair enough.
Still waiting on the first 47 payments, though.
Oh, no. Stop accepting payments when you don't know where they're coming from. It's not smart.
I guess I will start and try and keep something on topic and start asking our guests some questions. So why don't you tell us about yourself? You can choose the Elusive Brother or come up with your own name. Go for it. Please, rescue the sinking ship.
Okay, well, in most of the games I play these days, I do a little bit of RP on the side, like Call of Duty or Conan Exiles or whatever, and I roleplay as the Terror in the Night, Meth Head Mary. So I doubt you want to call me that, but that's the handle that I would pick.
Fun.
I mean, it's not the worst we've had.
That
is true. which is a sad thing to think about, but it honestly is not the worst one we've had. We've had some bad ones, so
yeah, we had that guy in Saniac for a while.
Yeah,
Saniac, please come back. We miss you.
We miss you.
Leave the dentist cult already.
The autocratic cult.
Like all the clans that I different game clan, fucking whatever I play in, we always call our clan the Hungry Hobos. I am the leader, Meth Head Mary, and then we have like the roster includes Stabbing Carl, Dumpster Dave. We got quite, everybody brings up their own name. And we all have different handles.
Who is the Elusive Gentleman? Is he Dumpster Dave? I feel like he's a Dumpster Dave.
No, he's not part of my crew. We sort of grew apart years ago on the games we play, but D&D has always kept us tight.
So,
fair enough.
Do you play any other games with him since he does play a lot of these what you call video games or virtual games, if you were?
I'm pretty sure they're called video games.
Not really these days. We were talking a bit about maybe getting back into like Destiny 2 together, or we've been playing, or he plays World of Warcraft, but I refuse to go back to it. Like I played it for a bit, but I never got a max level character because it's too repetitive.
You could just buy one now. There you go.
Yeah, I know. I'm not into that like pay to play shit for a game that you're already paying for, right? Like
That's the gaming model nowadays. Come on, man. Get on the pay train.
All right, man. Like I do have my guilty pleasures of microtransactions in some games, but like for the most part, if I pay full price for a game, I'm not gonna microtransaction for it. It's the free games that really get you with the little knickknacks.
Fair enough.
But the patty wax.
Yeah, exactly. This man understands.
Just to give a dog a damn bone costs $6.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you send the old man rolling home.
$6? No way. It's way more than that.
At
No,
first,
six is
it's $6 for the fake
microtransaction.
currency.
Yeah, exactly. This man, he understands. It's like $6.99 plus tax.
Just for the fake currency to maybe unlock what you want.
Maybe, most likely, not likely. Yeah.
So tell us about growing up with the Elusive Gentleman.
Oh fuck. Honestly, he was probably one of the best older brothers that somebody could have had. Like of all
so sweet.
It is sweet, and like he was hard on me when I was really young. And I don't know exactly what happened that changed, but
You're
at a certain
younger than
point,
him?
yeah.
Did you not realize that?
How old are you? Don't have to answer that. But what?
He's 7 years my elder.
Totally.
Well, that makes
okay.
you almost like just slightly older than me, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, please continue.
So, sort of lost my train of thought, but at some point there was a change in him and he became like extremely nurturing and like always had my back. And even our other brother who like would likely have been closer to me because of the age gap. Me and the Elusive Gentleman always were closer. We started playing D&D together. It was just me and him, and then our party eventually grew, and through the years did different campaigns, and I ran a campaign, and we learned it together, right? And I guess that's always sort of just been our thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like he's always good to me in the D&D verse, Like I used to be like a super hardcore power gamer and I just wanted to like kill it all, murder hobo, And as I got older, I just sort of calmed down a bit, and like now I'd never everybody who plays D&D with this guy, he's willing to make your dreams come true, within reason.
Yeah, he really
right?
is.
And like that makes his games that much more enjoyable and like immersive when you truly feel like you're this character, this main character of the story, and though you share like a party with a group of people, he makes sure that he cuts out time so that you do feel like the main character, even just for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But he does that with everybody,
really
right? Yeah, so like he's always allowed my imagination to run wild. Encouraged it even.
I didn't realize you were that much younger. I'm still hung up a little on that, but yeah, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
well, it's sort of funny that you say that because actually everybody says that. Like, they're like, "Oh my God, he's the older brother," and like our attitudes and our outlooks and stuff are similar but different.
Yeah, it's not like I thought you were over 40 or anything.
No,
Not at
I
all.
did actually meet your middle brother once, and I definitely thought that he was the oldest, but
no, he's the middle. I'm
now
the
we know.
youngest. Yeah, and it was just funny, like growing up and living with Jeremy and stuff. He's mature in like a lot of aspects, but there are some things that he's not so mature in, and it's usually like the more sociable aspects, I guess. Like it's hard to explain. I'm not trying to trash him or anything like that, but
No, it makes sense.
that's
We're
where
all really
people make that
terrible.
misconception is that like they think he's younger based on his basic outlook and attitude.
I met him, and through me, like Viking and her husband, through his ex-girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And like see what's funny about that too, and like I'm glad that
I'd
he
never
got to
met.
meet all of you through her and he had those experiences, but like me and him had a falling out over her
Oh,
because
for good
I knew
reason,
what she
sir.
was from the
You have.
beginning. I within 30 minutes of meeting her, I knew exactly what she was and what was going to happen, but he was
Yeah.
already in love. And though everything I did out of love for him. I just wanted to save him from the train wreck that I knew was oncoming.
But if you had, he would
But
have never met us.
well, he would have never met you guys, and also I recognize in the aftermath of everything, it took me a while. I was mad for a bit, but it took me a while. I came around to it, and I figured I was stupid and did stuff like that, and you have to. Nobody can live your life. You have to make these mistakes sometimes. You wish in the end or in the middle process after the fact that it didn't happen and that you didn't make those mistakes, but in the end you're better for it, right?
You have to
And
learn
like if I had stopped him, I would have robbed him of the
Of me.
reflection and growth that he got at the
Me.
end.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
sorry. I
That's
know.
a self-centered way to look at it.
So
But no, you're completely right. But that must have sucked.
oh, did big time. Like
It's not like she
was-
shot him with
I
an
don't know how
arrow or
much-
anything.
Okay, so it's like if you're gonna say that, I don't know how much the people know, but yeah, that happened, and I was on the road. I was working out of town. I was doing exterior renovation work, hail damage repair in like northern Alberta, and I just got this bunch of text messages and a call from them, and heard that the police were around and all this stuff happened, and like I was worried and livid. Like I was so mad because
Yeah,
I had seen all these warning signs and I tried to warn him, but like Jeremy, sorry, habits. The elusive gentleman,
he also goes by Sir Jeremy. It's
oh,
It's all
okay, that's
good.
fine then. He's
Hi, Rushala.
a good guy, but he's stubborn. So like when you
Oh,
interact with him and try to like change his mind about something, you have to be like, you can't be so abrasive. And I learned this because I was a very abrasive person, and that made us a clash a lot. So I had to try and break it to him in subtler means, and I tried for a long time. And then after that happened, I came home and the group all got together for D&D, and I had a conversation with him, and I said, don't bring her here. Don't do that. I hope you're done. Like, I hope you learned your lesson at this point after the whole archery accident. And he brought her there, and then that's when I knew, like, oh my god, like, he's in too deep, and he's got to, run the cycle. And then she felt the need to go around the circle and apologize to everybody for hurting him, for doing what she did. And like, I just thought that was the most selfish thing that like somebody could possibly do in this situation, because it wasn't about being sorry for something. It was about her feeling validation from the group and feeling better about her actions. Very immature thing for somebody to do. And I let her go.
Yeah.
I let her go all the way around the circle, and she comes to me. And I have never, ever been somebody to beat around the bush. That actually pisses me off. Like, passive aggression, I don't like it. I'm just aggressive, and it gets shit done. So, like, if it was something works, it ain't broken, don't fix it. So she gets to me, and I let her have it. I told her if she was a man, she'd be bleeding out on the ground, and we'd be calling the police right now, so I don't kill you. Fucking, but obviously she was a woman, and I've been raised not to ever, raise hands to a woman, and I just told her how it was, and that she wasn't welcome in my house, and that if I ever saw her again, fucking, I would call the police and have her removed from my property, and that as long that where I stand is that she attempted to murder somebody very dear to me, regardless of how it turned out. I mean, it was a weak ass bow, but still, had it been 3 inches down, he would have got it in the gut, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And like, it was a chest shot, so in my eyes, that's intent to murder. It's intent to kill somebody. So, family's tight. I protect my own. I just was like, so you got to get the F out. And that basically, he chose where he wanted to be, and he left with her. And that killed the D&D night that night, even before the session started. But hey, I have no regrets. I did what I had to. I stood up. I made a stand, and I did what I thought was right. I went on the road again. I came home. He midnight moved on me, and we had a bit of a falling out after that. But she was the poison already in his veins, so I just had to.
If I understand the timing right, about 2 months later, she gets a job at my place. And then another month or and a half later, she invites me to come over to her house, having never met her boyfriend before, to play D&D. And I'm like,
And then a couple weeks after
"You're
that, you invited us.
I was like,
well.
my first was like, you're one of my employees. But yeah, we played for like 3 or 4 weeks. I think we played for a month at least before I invited you guys, because I wanted to get a feel for the people I was playing with. And then yeah, and we started playing, and she would basically never show up. And then one day she just,
Or she would be drunk.
or she'd be so drunk.
So drunk. The first time I met her, I watched her go through every human emotion in 30 minutes.
That's impressive.
On a full bottle of wine. So I literally watched the cycle, and then I knew. I was like, red flags, Jeremy, we need to talk.
Dude, I employed her, and I had to tell, like, when I first met Jeremy, I remember talking with him, and then as we slowly became better friends, I remember I sent him, and you can tell him, I sent him of something that I actually, the more I think about it, maybe I shouldn't say this. I had proof of her infidelity. I had proof of her infidelity, though. I won't say how. And I gave it to him. And I was like, yeah, so this is what she's doing. Going home with a trucker.
So she tried to make several advances against me. Like,
Oh.
and like, I God is my witness. I have so many people I talk to about it, like in our D&D group, our friend group, or our family, even how to approach the situation, and with Jeremy, and discuss it with him. And I tried my best to warn him and tell him what was up, and like, but you know, love is blind, right?
Yeah.
And
Dude, I've had some horrible relationships. Absolutely. I was in love with one girl that literally beat me in my restaurant, and I still dated her for like 2 months after that. Like, you do stupid shit for some reason. I don't know why.
you do it just because like hormones, and like you have to understand too, something that's really
Vikings
invaluable.
never truly experienced this, I guess. You picked the right
No.
one right away. You lucky,
Yeah,
Yep.
hey,
lucky
you hit the
goddamn.
lottery.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
seriously. Hey, you
Yeah,
know what? 1 in 6, because if you include Insaniac too, like 1 in 6, that's pretty good odds though. Like
I mean, it's not great odds considering like
it's
I could go on for hours about how effed up our society is with like the divorce rate and how people like how dating is and all this shit
Dating
right
sounds
now.
horrible.
Oh, it's terrible. It's so
We did
terrible.
it.
If anything happened to my husband, I think I would just stay single. There's no way I would bother dealing with all that.
And this is not a popular opinion, but like modern women in American culture are just the worst, and like men are too. Like we're no better. Fucking,
men are
but it's
worse.
what we want. I would
As a
disagree with you.
bisexual male, I can tell you dating men is horrible. Some of them are it blows my mind actually. I've dated some men that are worse, absolutely worse, more needy, and they'll blow up at you for no reason, just no reason. Like I dated this one guy for like 3 weeks. He expected me to give him my entire schedule, and when I said no, fucking called me 16 times. I just blocked their fucking number. Like men are fucking nuts.
Honestly, men I understand more, and like I can at least put myself in their shoes easier than like I can with a woman. So like just both are equally fucked up in this society, and like it's so insane out here that like
Well, everyone's
I
just
go
scared
through
to be
spurts.
alone for no. Everyone's just scared.
I'll try for a bit and then I'll just give up and say fuck it, and like try for a bit and whatever, and like I'm more just passive about it now. I hit on a few girls at work and fucking I live my life, right? But again, I don't.
But this is why, like, if you haven't met the likeness, but if you ever meet the likeness, like this is his whole. This is how he lives life. Is he doesn't want. He doesn't have any attachments, and so like this is what he preaches. It's like if things happen, they happen, but you don't put yourself to any attachment.
Oh, and that's dangerous too. Like I if that works for whoever, I'm very live and let live sort of person. So like if that works for you, man, do you, right?
You know, that
So
sounds like the Jedi, and we all know how well that went.
yeah, and like I think it's good to put yourself out there and try to make connections and do your thing, but it's also very important to be cautious and have realistic expectations, and fucking, and by realistic I mean basically none at all. Again, and like just go with the flow. And I don't know, I've met like a lot of really cool women, but like none that I really like have vibed with in years. And maybe I'm just damaged goods or whatever. Like I was engaged when I was 21 and fucking caught her cheating on me and like all this shit, and like, you know, fucking have lived my life too. But since then I just never really found the one that was like, she's the shit, that's it.
I got really lucky and found that person when I was 18, so
fucking A, right? And like,
Yeah.
there's been times where I felt like maybe I fell in love again, but the relationship didn't work, or like there was too much friction between us about this or that or the other, and like I'm stubborn too. Jeremy's stubborn, I'm stubborn, we're all stubborn, our whole family's stubborn.
Jeremy's stubborn? What?
Ever.
No, never.
No way.
He's the most stubborn of us, so he's basically your litmus test for like where the bar is. But we are all different, varying levels of stubborn, and it all exhibits in different ways. I'm abrasive and direct and confrontational, and Jeremy is unmoving and fucking
So I want to interject
rooted
something since we're back to Jeremy. So we've had my sister on this podcast, and I've talked about my sisters a lot growing up with two sisters, but I've never actually grown up with two brothers. It's something I've always wanted, and so my question to you is: have you ever wanted sisters?
Fuck no, never once. And like, no problem with women. I love women, but no, fuck that shit. Women are way meaner. Like, I have cousins and stuff, and they're like, brother, sister, or two sisters and brother, or whatever. And like, I talked to the guy there, and he's just like the savage beatings and fucking like, not only like my brother's, the worst insult that got thrown around is you're gay, you know what I mean, or you're dumb or whatever, right? But sisters are like dig into your soul, into your like worst into your worst qualities, into your biggest self-esteem sort of issues, whatever you fear the most, they know when they like cut you there, right? And like, don't get me wrong, me and my brothers fought all the time. We almost killed each other a ton of times, but like, if I had a problem, like a good example of this is like me and my middle brother were never really close, like never really that close. But I got into some beef with some kids at school, and I heard that they were gonna jump me on the last day of school in like grade 9.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did I in shop class make a practice sword, a great sword, like a double hand pommel, rod iron inside of it, like as just an extra project because I'd finished everything early. And the teacher said you can't bring it home until the last day of school, and I was like, perfect. Just as extra protection because boys even in my day, nobody ever wanted to fight fair one-on-one. It was, we're gonna jump you, we're gonna be pussies, right?
You're telling me I put on stories of I've been there. No one ever fought one on one.
Exactly. So I brought this. I made this great sword, and like it was a big hefty beast too, like good like 4 foot long, just the blade, and then like freaking 1.5 foot on the hilt, and it was even all balanced and everything too. I loved it. The handle eventually did break, but it cracked. So whatever. But it was beautiful. And I ended up walking home with that. And for added insurance, I told my brother about this, my middle brother. He skipped school that day, and he was standing there waiting for me, fucking with one of his friends. And they walked me home that day. And we even saw them. We even saw the kids that were supposed to jump me, and they just waved to them. And they started walking the other way. But yeah, so like having brothers, you always knew that you had somebody at your back. Like even when your back was to the wall and you thought you had no options, you always had the option to reach out to them. And like if I had reached out to Jeremy, I'm sure he would have showed up. It just at that point in my life, he had already moved out of the house and had his own life and worked a full-time job and blah blah blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Makes
but
sense.
yeah, brothers are dope. They have your back.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because my brother's younger, but he never had my back. But I mean, he's cool. I like him.
I don't. Well, and that's something that's maybe it's just amongst us, but we're fiercely loyal to one another. As I said before, his ex woman there tried to make moves on me, and like I have this code of ethics, I guess, something that I hold close that I don't know where I really learned it from, but it just seems like it's right. Um, as soon as like a friend or a brother or like any anybody who's close to me uh, dates a chick or even likes her or whatever, uh, they're off the menu forever. I'm the straightest dude in the world, and that's a black dude with not one but two massive dicks. Fucking, you know what I mean? Like they're just you'll always just be a guy to me from now on, right? And so, and that's been with my friends, with my brothers, with and then I just treat them like they're one of the guys, and her the same way. And she used to give Insaniac a ride home. Like Jared would give Insaniac a ride home after the D&D session, and he would only be gone for freaking 20 minutes, and I would immediately sequester myself to my room, close the door, and she'd come knocking within 2 minutes and come, oh, can I come in? And at first I didn't want to be rude, but then eventually I just had to lock my door and put my headphones on, and she would sit down and like inch closer to me and ask me uncomfortable questions, and like I would inch away and like be as much of a bro as possible, you know what I mean? Like just talk to her like she was a dude.
Just to catch
And yeah,
up. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Just to catch up with the chat, Rishala says, "Yeah, I married the biggest idiot. Love is blind. My first husband was a piece of work. Definitely upgraded with my second. And my brothers are entitled, bratty shitheads. My sisters, especially the youngest, are my ride or die." Yeah, my sisters. Just to add to what you're saying too, like my sisters, pretty much. I talk about them a lot because they mean a lot to me. I have gone over the line many times where I shouldn't have for my sisters, because I don't care about myself as much as them.
And that right there is the definition of loyalty. Caring about somebody more than you care about yourself. That's where loyalty and honor are rooted in. Well, honor to your family or friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, good times. Yeah, I understand that not everybody's families is like tight and doesn't have the same dynamic, but like at least the brothers, we got each other's back. The rest of the family might be all doing their own shit, but
That's
I'm using
awesome.
my manner.
Fair
My
enough.
cousin and I are the exact same way. Like we were basically raised as siblings.
What?
My cousin and I are both like our ride or dies as well.
That's awesome. My brother and I hated each other when we were kids, but now that we've grown up and we don't live in the same house, we are incredibly close.
And sometimes that's all it takes, because it's like it's funny how that works.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick all your friends who you vibe with and stuff, but you're forced into it with your family. There is no choice there, and like they grow on you like a black mold, Fucking sometimes they're toxic and deadly, and sometimes they're fuzzy and warm, like it's.
However, if my brother ever asks me to move again, help him move again, and is not prepared for it, I'm going to strangle him.
Yeah, you can draw a line. You can draw a line somewhere in the sand. You do have to create clear boundaries with the family, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've helped Jeremy move, so. He's usually about the same way, I'm not gonna lie to you. He'll have like.
Oh no, we have also helped Jeremy move. This was much worse.
He's more diligent these days. When he was younger, it was bad.
That's fair.
Me and him lived together most of our lives. Like, he was always, even, you know, moving out of the parents' house and stuff. Like, I moved out when he was 19 with him and another guy. And, yeah, we've always sort of been close in that way and stuff. At least, that's the thing, is I don't have to get used to somebody else's habits and stuff. I know his.
That makes sense. So, we now know you. What can we learn about the elusive gentleman's brain to help us succeed at the things we want to do in D&D?
Oh, shit. Well, there's many a times that I've tried to outsmart him, and I have in the past before.
Ooh.
With like subtle planning and careful manipulation here and there, but like it's the way he DMs, it's hard to like really do that, in the sense that he sort of just has this moving world that's in the background, and it has like maybe timing points when stuff goes down that's gonna like change the way that the world flows and moves. But you're literally making your own. Think of yourself on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and you're a wizard. You can cast gust, go wherever the hell you want, do whatever the hell you want. Shit's gonna happen in the background, but you don't have to be involved in it if you don't want. So the things that you want to do with him specifically as a DM are always attainable. He's never gonna railroad you. He might, as I say, like have, let's say, a meteor shower or a city explodes or whatever, and you may have an option to do something about it, but
and then not do it in party for multiple days in a row. Yeah, we may have done that.
But you are never forced into it, and he wants you to feel like every action that you have does have consequences and reactions to it. So like, as you say, you didn't save the city, and now there are consequences, right? But how you save the city, would it change those consequences regardless? The actions that you made during this quest or whatever will have lasting ripples that you will see down the road. And like, that's why I say in our last session, I was like, yeah, I just want to steal some shit from like, and that's an option for me. Like, I just talk to him and be like, so who do I know in town, or gather some information, who's the richest dude here, and then try to break into his estate and steal some shit. You know what I mean? Like, and he'll do that for me. And in the same way as you can, this is what I want, this is what I envision, you talk to him about it, maybe behind closed doors if you're juggling with it, and then he'll, you know, set something up. But he's really good at just like on the spot. He's a very sharp guy, and he has a lot of imagination and creativity to make what you envision a reality, or a D&D reality.
Yeah. He really is. I mean, just being in his world is incredible. He has such wild things going on that you would never expect, but they're there and happening, and it's a lot of fun to play with him.
So the way he DMs is the way I do, which is, I just feel like is the right way to DM, is you write a story in the background that the players are basically like, it's happening and the pages are churning and the players are floating above it, like affecting certain parts of it. But sometimes they're just off on the other side of the world doing whatever the hell they want to do. You know what I mean? Like, and the story keeps churning forward and things keep happening and you do as you do, and that may or may not change things. Right?
Yeah.
And like, I can't even tell you how many times we're like, we have the main quest mission, but then we come up like in previous parties, come up with like 4 different missions to go on first because we're like trying to prep for it. You know, we're like, oh, we have to do this heist. Okay, well, we need, you know, it's like some Ocean's 11 shit where there's like we're split up and somebody's got to go. We have to go steal the Zeppelin first so that we can bring the Zeppelin to the heist. But the only guy who owns a Zeppelin around here is like 3 islands over, so we got to sail over there first. And then we need a ballista with a specially crafted hook harpoon on the front of it, right? So that we can hit this dude's door or whatever and rip it off as part of the heist. Okay, now we got to go to the dwarves and freaking they have to craft us this ballista, right? And this special hook made out of mithril, so it's light enough that we can like carry the thing or whatever, right? And like we create our own narrative and our own story to obviously, yeah, try and fit into his story where we can, if it's enticing enough. But we just go off on our own adventures, and sometimes, yeah, we circle back to where we're supposed to be, and sometimes like shit goes wild and we completely forget the narrative for a bit, and then you know we stumble back into it at some point. And that's the cool thing about it, is you always have your own plans and schemes, but you never really know what's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
I
It's
feel
always
in total we might have gotten him off card maybe twice in
that's
the
what I was
last
about to say. It's
3, 4
always
years
fun
we played.
if we can manage to surprise him.
And like my last group, we've been playing together like 10 years straight, and all the campaigns have been connected and all the choices that we've made have molded like the so we started in the core D&D, and because we rose to godhood and won and like killed Hexter and killed the god of death and a few other people, we ended up taking their places and blah blah blah, and then we changed the pantheon and the world ended up changing. And like, so at one point we were in the core I don't know, D&D verse, like I think it's Sword Coast or whatever, right? Or Eberron, I think it's Eberron. And yeah, and we've just changed everything to this point. So like, and that's what I'm saying is, in your guys' last game, you change stuff in the distant future, like so you changed the lore of this universe that we've built in the distant future and killed people and took people over and created new gods and did this and that, and now that's just how it is. You know what I mean? You've rewritten the history essentially, that's fine. That's good. We're all building this massive universe with all these moving parts in it, all these different heroes throughout time who have changed things, and for the better or worse, we don't know, right? Like, and like the kind of stuff that like, see, I'm good at not to metagame about it, but Jeremy does bounce a lot of his ideas off me about this kind of stuff, and I give him feedback, and like we help shape the world and the universe together. But again, all of your guys' every action has an equal and opposite reaction in his universe, and his iteration of this universe.
That makes sense.
That's pretty cool, actually.
We've talked so much about writing books about it, like about all, and we have pages and pages. I have like a full box here that's literally just like notes and like highlights of past campaigns, and like we were all there. We'll have to remember it and flare it up a little bit for better storytelling, but like keep the core bones of everything we've ever done in D&D, and we could write like a Dragonlance style 30-book series. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
And
bet.
some seriously epic shit did happen, and some like early on our RP wasn't really there, but in the mid to late campaigns, like we really felt like our characters were real people that could have existed with their own intricacies in their life and their, you know, you were really like actually playing somebody else, you know,
Yeah.
instead of just like my guy's an orc and he's a warrior and he smashes shit.
Yeah, it takes a while to get past that, huh?
Had I used to be there, right? I used to just be like, my guy is the deadliest guy in the universe.
I loved my
but
first.
Oh, go ahead.
I loved my first character, but her main character trait was that she liked killing people. So to be fair,
You were literally a murder hobo. Definition.
no, just an assassin.
Oh, you like to kill people. I mean, I've had a few sadistic characters,
Yeah.
but like for the most part, like they're, I don't know. There's always it's just cooler when you have character flaws, right? Like things that are wrong with you, you know. 'Cause it helps add to the story. Nobody's perfect, right?
Yeah.
And shit.
Ruchala says, I've had several besties over the year I consider my siblings. Your love and respect comes through your voice, and player-driven stories can be a hot mess while they're really epic. I'm sorry I'm kind of half in this. I'm in the middle of apparently Anchor has disappeared, and it's now part of Spotify. So I am just in the middle of this conversation. I'm just trying to get our podcast back and on Spotify as we speak. So don't mind me.
Sounds good.
That's confusing.
Yeah, everyone else plays super crazy characters. Mine have just been super tame.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
bullshit.
There's absolutely no reason why I tried really hard to murder one of them.
No, not at all.
It
And
wasn't
like-
at all deserved.
That's funny. Jeremy told me about that too, and that the fact that your party was able to handle a player versus player character death and not splinter because of it shows everybody's maturity in the group, as well as like, you know,
To be
didn't know
fair,
y'all would feel like that.
before that,
I still
he
feel
had tried to kill C4's character too, and almost been successful.
I
Yeah,
shouldn't-
I was
There
like
were
1 or 2 points off.
there were a lot of attempted murders between our party members.
And like that's real life right there, especially in a time when you're like, if you're all deadly killers in your own right, like why wouldn't you, right? Why
That's
wouldn't
druid.
you have a disagreement with somebody, whether it be
I was
whatever, that comes to blows and possibly like shed blood and dead bodies, if you felt strongly enough about it, especially since most adventuring parties are made up of different alignments, backgrounds, classes, and then obviously differing varying beliefs systems, right? Depending on your culture or upbringing, and then you play that into your character and your how you go about doing things, and it's like, of course you would come to blows, like
Yeah,
It's-
pretty much. Like, you're betraying us? Oh, I'm gonna kill you. Well, of course.
I usually
Why?
like to be reasonable and give options, but like if your character wouldn't, then do you.
Exactly.
Like we never had, you know, and I've done it in the past a few times because I had disagreements, but like the first time we did it, I just outright murdered one of the other party members, like no warning, turned on him, flurry of blows, gone. Fucking. But then I learned after that that could hurt feelings. So I had a subtlety to it and gave them a chance to defend themselves, or did it at the end of a campaign so that like what I did happened while the credits rolled, when the character and the player were now separated, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's a little bit more poetic justice too, especially if the crime fits, right? When it's like you can't do anything about this either; it just happened, and that's the way history's written.
Nice.
Like evil genius level shit. But then it happened to me on my last campaign, so like finally got some karmatic justice for it.
That seems fair.
Yeah, it was good too. Like I do applaud the way that it was done, and like how it changed our universe for probably the worse, but it was still awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, and like I can appreciate that if it creates a better story, then fuck yeah. Sometimes characters gotta die or retire, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you in our game you met a little girl when you climbed to the top of a mountain. She wasn't my old character, but she sort of like absorbed my old character.
Yeah.
So that was a result of one of my characters retiring.
Exactly, and that's and Jeremy said that to me too, so that he changed the universe a bit, and like that was Neutralica, and then basically took on the persona of your character.
Yeah.
And like
that's the one that almost murdered the Greasy Boy's character.
Yeah, I mean, I murdered Insaniac's character, and like to be fair, him as a player, the reason it went down that way is because he got emotional about it, and then I gave him a chance to plead his case, but he didn't. And then it sort of just went straight to combat, and then he didn't even fight me.
He also tried to murder that little girl, so yeah.
So like it what comes around does go around, but I like to think that I gave him an option. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Things got a little heated in that one, and then our group fractured, unfortunately. But you know, it is what it is. And that's why I'm saying is not everybody was as mature as we should have been in that situation.
Yeah.
Maturity is overrated.
It's good to be immature like a lot of the time, but there's some things you just gotta be like, it's life.
There's ways that it's good to be mature and ways that it's good to be immature.
That's right.
The ability to like handle emotional situations, it's a good thing to be mature there.
Yeah, emotional control is so important and so like lost these days. Like everybody's always offended about something, and it's like, what the hell? Like since when does do people's individual emotions matter? Like in the grand scheme of the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how small and insignificant they are. Like in your own group of friends or family and stuff, they're important. But the internet has really destroyed a lot of people when it comes to sharing their emotions and opinions.
Yeah, it really has.
Just a little bit.
And like nobody has emotional control anymore, and it's ridiculous. And it's like that's breeding weak people. Like that's a quality of a strong person. One of them is that you are able to control your emotions and how you react to them, right? Because if we didn't, we'd all just be like cavemen, fucking stabbing each other with spears and beating each other with clubs and shit, right? Thought that was the point of society and politics, was to you know, be able to figure this shit out.
You're saying that doesn't sound fun.
But then we just got a bunch of screaming banshees.
Exactly.
You go be a caveman.
And like sometimes I'll agree, violence gets shit done, but there's too often that it's become the solution to people's problems. Like somebody disagrees with you, so it's okay to commit violence upon them. Like that's stupid. Truly at its core. Like that is ignorance right there. That's go live in your cave, man, you know? But
Yeah.
sometimes it's gotta happen, right? Like
I completely agree.
it's and like I think that's actually would be one of the solutions to everybody being so like butthurt about everything is like there's too many people in this world who have a serious lack of getting punched in the face. And like it it's a great leveler to everybody in the sense that like you you know you say the wrong thing to the wrong person and there are consequences. You getting punched in the face. You know what I mean? So like if everybody felt like that may be an option before they said something, I just have this certainty that people would say less ludicrous shit and fucking be offended all the time and feel the need to say they're bullcrap. It's like
Some
where I
people
grew up
would.
and stuff.
Some
I'm
people
with you.
would, but some people just don't understand the consequences of their actions,
Well, yeah,
no
and
matter what.
like I understand too that like as I was saying previously before the show that I play video games like competitively and I also talk a lot of shit. But I'm willing to back that up. If Buddy came and knocked on my door and wanted to throw down in the street, I'd go out there and fight him. I'll stand behind my words. But I truly believe that in a competitive nature, maybe not sports, but like video games and stuff like that, it's important to get inside your opponent's head and shake them and rattle them a little bit, right? And they'll try to do the same thing to you, but it's like that's part of it too, the mind games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, but again, I'm willing to get punched in the face for the things that I say. So I'll stand behind anything that I say and I guess that I feel like sometimes that's the difference between me and a lot of these people, and then I simply just don't understand them because it's harder for me to empathize.
To interject with some Rujhala. By the way, Rujhala is our Patreon. If anyone else wants to join Patreon or just subscribe, you could support us. So she, a couple things to you, Elusive's brother. Player-driven stories can be a hot mess, but can be really epic. I enjoy playing a drunken monk in a game I've been playing for a year. The cask of a sake I carry with me actually heals psychic damage. That's actually kind of funny. And
That's cool.
in case you're asking how the Spotify battle goes, I won. I just won.
Yay!
And
Good
everything's
job.
good. So everything's all golden. So we're all good.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I'd like to thank you on of Spotify and his being patient with me and slowly freaking out if you guys did hear my frantic typing. But no, everything's good.
It's awesome.
Yay!
Yeah, I played a drunken monk once. That was fun.
I love monks. They're ridiculous.
They're ridiculous, and they're like, it really gives you a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon feeling, or like, you know, like old kung fu movies that were ridiculous over the top with like rope fighting and the stage fighting and all that crap, right? Like it gives you the feel that you're like Jackie Chan in a Drunken Master, just whooping everybody's ass in the freaking bar, right?
Which is funny
I played a
because
monk who was a circus performer. So all that she ever wanted to do was just like circus tricks, juggling, tightrope walking. It was great.
Catching arrows.
Yeah.
I played
Yeah.
a monk that was a cleric. I think I told you about him, but my monk was just a crazy cleric who just wanted to heal people. That was his whole thing. He didn't want people to die.
But he did it in a very strange way.
Yeah, I just jab people with fucking syringes in their arteries. Rujala says, my favorite Voltaire quote is, I do not agree with the words you just said, but I'll defend you to the death right to say it. Yeah, I love that. It's my favorite Voltaire
Yeah,
quote. Defend
Yeah.
your right to say it to the death.
and that's how our society really should be. That
Yeah.
everybody's opinions, like, I wish that during like the whole COVID crisis and stuff, like that vaccination wouldn't have been such a dividing line. And like my thought process too is like, as somebody who's a very centrist, is like, you do you, like whatever you got to do as long as it ain't hurting anybody is up to you, right? So like my thought process on the whole thing was like, the people who chose to take it will be protected, and the people who don't run whatever risk that they feel like they want to run, right? But I'm such a centrist in the idea that I think we should just legalize everything and just like, you do you, but we don't have government programs to like to help you fix your mistakes or whatever, right? Like, you make your own mistakes, you're liable, you do you, and if people want to do drugs and overdose and die and stuff, that's up to them, right?
I
Your
agree,
choice
as long as they do it
is-
the drugs they want. I hate when they do drugs.
Well, and
overdose,
that's what I'm
die,
saying.
and it's not the drugs
If
they
the
want to
government
buy.
legalized, if they legalized all drugs and then regulated it, then they could ensure the accuracy and the potency of every drug, right? So like, you wouldn't have like toilet bowl ecstasy mixed with fentanyl and fucking blah blah blah, right? And it would be,
Hey,
again,
cocaine's
it's a
legal
way
in
for the
Canada.
government to make more tax dollars for sure, and maybe take a little bit away, like lower the fucking income tax or something like that.
Let's all take a bus trip to BC and snort some legal cocaine.
Let's not.
Yeah,
Fair
no.
enough. However, we are past time. We should wrap it up. Any final words, anyone? I have final words. I have lots to say, always. I can.
Thanks for having me. Sorry I talked y'all's ears off.
That's perfect. That's what we have guests on for, so we don't have to talk. It's perfect.
Oh, that's wonderful.
No, it's been a lot of fun getting to know you, and I'm really glad that you've joined us.
Yeah.
It's always fun to have a new character and a new player come in and mix things up, and it's cool that we get to meet the Elusive Gentleman's brother.
Yeah. I mean, he's such a gem, too, that, like, automatically I come in and everybody's has all these high expectations. And just hope I didn't disappoint.
I expected you to be more of a power gamer. I am very disappointed at your lack of
That's
power gaming.
actually, that's true.
I am extremely
very
power
disappointed.
game.
I was talked up at your power gaming, and I am very disappointed at the lack of power gaming.
I'll tell you right now that what you've seen Core do so far and what he's capable of are but you've seen the very tip of the iceberg, maybe 30%.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sure there's
And
lots more to come.
The rest he's just keeping under wraps just because he decided that he doesn't need to show off. He just needs to be able to do his thing, right? So if
He needs to function.
I want to see some game-breaking procedures. I want the game to fold before you, and I want to be in awe as you.
You'll see it. You'll see it eventually. But again, I'm
gonna hold it to that.
I'm playing the long game on this one, so.
Play the long game.
You'll see it. It'll probably be like months down the road when we're around here.
Thank you all for tuning in.
It took us 6 months to do a week in game, so it probably will be a while.
I am C4 here with the Elusive Brother. It's a great name. The Elusive Brother to the Elusive Gentleman, the Viking, and the Grease Goblin, and as always, Rajala in the chat. And catch us next week for another episode. Yeah.
Just remember, if you haven't fully lived until you've died.
Or
you haven't completed life until you've died.
Yeah, you haven't fully lived.
I guess.
Or until you clapped your hands. Clap, clap.